Hello there, it's me Josh. Welcome to Storytime. Today we're reading Little Miss Curious by Roger Hargreaves from the Little Miss Library of Books. We've learned so much and we've read through and gone on so many fun adventures and stories so far. If you like this channel, please subscribe, click that bell below, and you can visit the page and read any of the stories that I do on here, or whatever you like, really. You can just cruise through and do whatever you want. That's why I'm here, to just read stories and have fun. Yeah. Today we're going to find out exactly what we can take out of Little Miss Curious. What messages and things we could learn today. Alright, get comfortable, get ready, wherever you are. Because we're about to delve into story time. That's right. Oh, you're so smart. Here we go. Little Miss Curious is a very curious sort of person. Just look at her house. It's a very curious shape, isn't it? It is. It's almost like the shape of a question mark, would you say? And generally, when you're asking questions, you are curious, yes? Now look at her garden. That's curious too, isn't it? Look at all the question marks in that. Now look at Little Miss Curious. She's rather curious looking too. And she also has a very curious nature. She wants to know the how, why, and what of everything. That's Little Miss Curious there. Does it look like her hair is in the shape of a question mark as well? Yep. One day Little Miss Curious set off for town. Why do doors squeak? But not small and furry with pink ears and long tails? She asked the door as she went out. Understandably, the door didn't answer. So do you think she's talking about like mice because they squeak? But she's wondering why a door isn't small and furry with pink ears and long tails. Doors generally don't talk. So she didn't get a response. Why do flowers live in beds but never sleep? She asked the flowers in her garden. They just smiled, knowingly. Then she saw a worm. Why do worms in Nonsense Land wear bow ties? She asked. That's for me to know and you to find out about, said the worm, laughing. Nonsense Land is where Mr. Silly and Mr. Nonsense are from. Later on the way to town, Little Miss Curious met Mr. Nonsense. Are you curious to find out what she asked him? Well, go on then. Let's turn over. I'm curious, began Little Miss Curious, to know why it is that sandwiches are called sandwiches if they don't have any sand in them. It just so happens, said Mr. Nonsense, that this is a sand sandwich. I'm rather partial to sand. Of course, Mr. Nonsense is eating an actual sand sandwich. Right, cool. Happy Christmas, he said. Then Mr. Nonsense ran away, holding his sandwich carefully so that the sand didn't fall out. Typical Mr. Nonsense. Little Miss Curious eventually arrived in town. Did I hear you ask why? Well, you're curious, aren't you? But are you as curious as Little Miss Curious? Little Miss Curious had gone to visit the library. I wonder, would you be able to help me, she asked. Of course, says Miss Page, the librarian. What are you looking for? I'm looking for a book, began Little Miss Curious. A book that will tell me why the sky is blue, and why combs have teeth but can't bite, and why chairs have legs but can't play football, and why... And she went on, until there was a very long queue behind her that was growing longer by the minute. Lots and lots and lots of questions. That's enough, cried Mrs. Page. Next, please. Wow. It's just straight into the aggression there, Miss Pate. It's not very nice. Just asking some questions, getting a bit curious. But why, little Miss Curious started to ask. But without quite knowing how or why, she suddenly found herself out in the street. How curious, little Miss Curious thought to herself. As she walked along the street, little Miss Curious asked herself, why is everybody giving me such curious looks? And why is little Miss Careful waving an umbrella at me? Is it because it's going to rain? We don't think so, do we? Little Miss Curious ran off. Are you going to ask why? Are you becoming as curious as little Miss Curious? Can you guess where she ran off to? I wouldn't know, but I'm curious now. That's the curious brow. Neither can I. Come back, little Miss Curious, and tell us where you're going. You'll see we're all ever so curious. Yes, we really are. You know what I mean? They're all curious to find out where little Miss Curious is going. So, little Miss Curious, where are you off to? The curious brow. If you can maybe do two at the same time. Ooh, maybe a little wave. What can I say? What can I say? That's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for reading Little Miss Curious with me today. I'll be back with another story very, very, very soon. So bye for now, but not forever. If you like this channel, please subscribe. Click that bell below. And you can visit the page, read stories whenever you like. I'm Josh. This is Storytime. See ya.